Hello, and welcome to Hyp3rsh0ck reading. Now, this is probably not going to become a series, but I thought I'd read you something that I wrote a while back. I would say don't watch this if you don't like corpses. I don't care. Trigger you if you want to watch it, just whatever. After a few kicks, he broke through the hatch. The wooden flap flew open with a loud creaking and slamming sound. The room was dimly lit, with a large table in the center. It was filled with dust, as well as being completely silent. A putrid smell wafted from one of the corners of the room. It pierced his nose. It was nauseatingly bad. He reached down to his waist and grabbed one of the pieces of cloth and stuffed it into his mouth. He held the other one under his nose. He climbed down from the outpost-like structure he was on top of. Other than the table, the room was empty. He crouched down to avoid being detected if there was anything in here. He listened for a moment, and turned to walk further. Then he noticed what was emitting the foul smell of rot. A mound of bodies with pieces taken out of them. The sight made Sean sick. He attempted to force himself further into the room, but he couldn't. He quickly took the rag out of his mouth and vomited on the ground. Sean's head hurt. He wanted to turn back, but his legs wouldn't move. Flies buzzed around the corpses, only adding to the effect. Sean's legs began to shake, causing him to drop to his knees. He turned his head around and saw something horribly disgusting. A large body made out of flesh had been stitched together. One of the hands was a ball of flesh, which was loosely stitched together, with large rusty iron spikes poking through the holes that had been dug into it. The body was designed to be sort of pudgy. It was disgusting, ugly, a monstrosity. The stitches were metallic. The areas around the stitching were rotting red color, while the skin was still normal. The monster's face was loosely stitched on. Some teeth poked through the area around what would have been a mouth. Sean heard banging on a large metal door that was near him. He darted out of sight. Behind a block of stone, a man came through the door. His black leather armor was covered in spikes, extremely large, carrying an executioner's axe in one hand and a razor-sharp sickle in the other. This is when Sean heard some chains moving. "No! Please!" A distraught voice screams from the other corner. This intimidating man walks towards him. "No!" Sean watched in horror as the man placed the axe on the ground and hacked the prisoner to bits with the sickle. He felt like vomiting again, but suppressed it this time. The executioner walked over to the fleshy monstrosity that Sean had stumbled upon. He placed a chunk of the victim's flesh into the leg of the thing. Now it seemed complete. After placing it, he pulled out a metallic stitch and sewed it on, finishing the beast. He then walked over to the mangled remains of the prisoner and picked it up, walking over to the big body pile and dumping it on top, causing a stray arm to tumble down the side. "It's finished," the executioner said loudly. A second person walked into the room. This person was thin, the robes being extremely large on the figure. Some scraggly hairs poked out from his chin. His skin seemed to be gray in color. "Good," he said in a harsh voice. He reached into his satchel and pulled out a red orb. It was heart-like in nature, pulsating and sending waves of magic through the room and back into itself. This thinner man walked over to the vile lump of stitched flesh, readying the orb to be plunged into the hellish beast. Sean quietly emerged from the block of stone, sword ready and shield out. The executioner turned around toward him. You won't be needed for this project, but you will be a fine trophy, the thin man spoke, pointing at Sean. In less time than Sean wanted, the executioner was close to him. He took a swing with the sickle. Sean used his shield to block the strike. He rolled away from the hit as the shield took the damage. The shot would have almost certainly been fatal. The top portion of his shield slid off. And that was it for Hyp3rsh0ck Reads. I don't know if it'll become a series, most likely won't, but just tell me how you liked this. Thank you.